Hello and welcome to the week 2 recap for REL 9 and 10A. It is just me today because no one else showed up. It's my own fault. I pushed this off because I'm human garbage, and also Dwiggy is unavailable this week because he's on vacation, and also because I tried to get people going on short notice instead of planning ahead. So, you know, basically blame me. It's all my fault. But the upshot is that we can go through this really quickly with no one here to tell me that my random conjecture is wrong. So without further ado, let's look at the games for REL 9. Also, for those new, just to remind you, I am Chaos Paloo, the pile of garbage who does your weekly recaps. But you know what? At least I'm reliable. So I'm better than some of them. Okay, no, seriously though, we're gonna start now. First match of week 2 of REL 9 is a admin game, the Fat Earthers versus the admin team. Ogres win. Go Ogres! Second match, mammals of unusual size versus the CR Boys Giant Stags, which was won by the Amazons 2-1, which is, you know, pretty good. You can sort of get a hint of what happened here if you look at this screen. 1 expulsion, 2 deaths. 10 armor breaks to 11 doesn't seem that bad. And honestly, the blocks aren't that insane either. But then you look here, 5 KOs, 5 casualties, 2 deaths. 2 KOs, 1 casualty. And, Some of those removals, although not the deaths, are not even from blocks. Specifically, the players who died for the CR Boys as well, as I'm sure you want to know, were a plus strength lion elf and a dodge lion elf. So the dodge lion elf doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but the plus strength one, you're definitely feeling that a bit. Whereas on the other hand, the only loss that the mammals took was their usual lion woman sacrifice. They took a strength bust on a lion woman, which was a really good match for them. But unfortunately, the Little Bits, the coach of this glorious Amazon team, had to drop out of the competition, which is why we have this message right here. It wasn't dishonorable. It was... Little Bits has their own reasons that they just couldn't continue in this season, and it's very unfortunate, but hopefully they'll be back next season. Having said that, next match, Sugars in Spite versus Durin's Dastardly Dudes. And this is one of the ones that is not in my notes, I believe. Yeah, it's not. They played at the last minute, so I do not know what happened in their game. But I do know that the Dark Elves won against the Dwarves 2-0. So, you know, that seems like a pretty good record for Wood Elves. They got more armor breaks, they got more blocks. They inflicted 3 injuries. Dark Elves beat Dwarves when they outblocked Dwarves. Who'd have thunk it? That's a ton of SVP though. Wow. Only 1 pass as well. And just out of curiosity, I see this thing right here. Okay, well, you know, I guess it did. I guess that's a 16 out of 16. I guess it was badly hurt, probably. Next up, we have the Royalton Circus versus the Charlestown Chiefs, which was a 2-2 draw between the Kislev and the Lizardmen. I think this is one of the matches me and I almost said Rumblebee. That would have been wrong. No, me and Dwiggy looked at last week. I don't remember who predicted whom would win, but I'm pretty sure neither of us predicted the draw. Lizardman's definitely outbashed the Kislev, who did a lot of passing and looks like some fouling. Yep, that's like literally over twice as many blocks. And yet only 3 times as many armor breaks. I guess it sort of adds up when you factor in the armor. And the dodge, for that matter. Oh, that's interesting. Some good SPP all around. Like, I don't think either of the coaches are probably walking away from this game being that upset with this result. Although it is worth mentioning, a skink did get niggled, which would be a non-issue if it was, except it had sidestep. I mean, that's still basically not an issue. To be honest, had something more significant happened, I would not have even put that in my notes. But it is the only player who took a perm, so I wrote it down. Finally, we have Frosting and Filling versus Mystery Science Goats 3000, which was a 2-0 win for the Norse team, with a death on both sides. The Norse won this game, but they got a little beat up doing it, which is good. It's something I like seeing anyway. As for those dead players, on the Chaos team, it was a mere rookie Beastman. On the Norse team, though, it was a thrower who had kickoff return and leader, which I think will probably be missed for at least a little while from the Frosting and Filling. I don't know how much he used that player. Like, I'm not sure he really needed that thrower, but he probably, if nothing else, he's gonna miss having the reroll. Okay, now I'm the only one here, so I'm only going to look at one team. Also, I have so many more teams in Div 10A than I do in this one, but you know, that's neither here nor there. Let's see. We have looked at the CR Boys, Giant Stags, and the Royalton Circus. So, what's another good team to look at? How about where is it? I know what team I want to look at. Actually, wait. Do I want to look at the Ogres? No. Save them for when they're a little bit more developed. We are going to look at the Dwarfs. Durn's Dastardly Dudes. Here for a long time. Not a good time. And this is a dwarf team. It has both runners now. Both of them have block. One of them has tackle. 4 rerolls, which feels a little excessive to me. But, you know, if you're really going aggressive on greed rerolling, then it's okay. Like, here's the thing. Dwarves have cheap rerolls, so I don't hate having the 4th. So you can be really greedy with your blocks. I don't love it either. I think as you get higher TV, this becomes more of a bad idea. But this is in the range where it can still pull it off, I think. I would have preferred to see one of these runners have wrestle instead of block. But failing that, this is still going to turn into a decent safety right here. Mighty Blow first on a blitzer, which I think is interesting. That says to me that the color plaid was more interested in getting some Mighty Blow on the team, because I am definitely a guard first player, coach rather, for my blitzers on dwarves. They're the most mobile player, which arguably makes guard the most useful on them. This is the easiest player on the team to put somewhere when you need guard in a particular place. It is the easiest one to fill a hole where you need guard. Whereas Longbeards, they are sort of more locked in. You always want to spam guard on them, but they're also more likely to get stuck somewhere. And if you have like excellent positioning, then If you have really excellent positioning, then you can get away with not having as much guard. But practically speaking, usually your opponent will be able to play in such a way that you want to be able to have the extra mobility guard on the blitzers, I think. Having said that, going 1-1 on a blitzers, so like one is guard and one is mighty blow first, like eventually they'll both have both, but I can definitely get behind that sort of development. And of course, the Troll Slayers, as soon as they level up, are almost certainly going to take guard. Or I'm tripping over my words. No, you're not going to take guard first on a Troll Slayer. You're going to take Mighty Blow. Get real. Get real. Don't listen to all of those people who don't play dwarves in REL chat. Seriously though, back when I had a new team, people kept saying stupid shit like, oh yeah, no, put guard on your Troll Slayers. This is a great idea. It's not a terrible idea, but no. No, your Troll Slayers are your killers. Give them Mighty Blow. Don't listen to people who tell you to take guard first on Troll Slayers. They are trying to deceive you. They are lying to you. There is... Oh, hey, beer stand. I don't think you had that before, but I very much approve it. With the beer stand, you might even want to look at putting Frenzy on a Blitzer as well. Like, really commit to it. Although that... Well... I'm not certain that that would be correct, but it would definitely be very bold. It would be interesting. I could get behind it. Of course, it also means that you're probably not... Okay, so I really like inducement dwarves, but it's not the only way to play dwarves. I think a bribe is also really good on dwarves, but ideally you want to get that with a death roller build. And actually this team is at 230k, so for all I know they might be buying a death roller pretty soon, but they don't have one right now. So yeah, I like how the Longbeards are developed. I would like to see one of these guys take grab, because that's sort of my thing. And it's actually really good to have, like, literally a single Longbeard with grab is very useful in a dwarf team. But yeah, I think the development here looks good. I think it's going to continue looking good throughout the season. I'd like to see a couple more level ups on basically... Okay, so like this guy's one throw away, this guy's one throw away. I don't care if you're dwarves or not. They're Agi 3. That's 2 3+ to get a level up. You're probably going to have like a turn 15 or 16 where you have the ball but can't score. Just throw it. You're more likely to level up that way than you are from a block. Let's put it that way. And then you just hit them anyway. Actually, you hit them first, then you throw the ball. But anyway. Moving on. Also try to get a touchdown on one of the Troll Slayers. That would be really good. So that was REL 9. And that was Dern's Dastardly Dudes. I like your team. Keep doing good. What is your record, actually? Oh, well, that's a little unfortunate. I'm sure you can do better. It's not even that you've been doing badly, actually. Like, I think you've had some close matches, haven't you? Well, I mean, you got outplayed by Dark Elves. They're elves. Okay, the pattern I'm seeing here is having trouble with agility teams. So I think you just, Plaid, you just really need to practice against those agility teams. And then you'll have it, because your team looks good. Just get a few more key level ups, and I think and get a little more practice on those hard matchups for you, and I think you'll be doing really well. Now moving on for real, we are going to go look at 10A, which is down here and over here. That's week 3. Wow, they've already played 4 games. Also, I did not look at games for next week. Huh. Sorry, but I guess I'm not doing that this week. Huh. Because I forgot. Yes. Yes, let's go with that. You know what? No. It's not because I forgot. It's because that's Dwiggy's job and he's not here. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. So, first game of 10A. Honest to God versus Jonestown Journeyman. With a 2-0 win for the Dark Elves? No, those are Pro Elves. Those are Pro Elves, not Dark Elves. But this was a pretty interesting win. For reasons that you might not see right away. Let's see if I have this written down. There it is. So actually, there was a death on each side, which I didn't write. No, I wrote down. Okay, look, it was a goblin over here. No one cares about dead goblins. No one cares about dead goblins. But people do care about dead elves. People like seeing elves die. The real story here, though, is this may be 0-2, but this is 15-6. And 4 expulsions. 3 injuries. 5 KOs. 2 more injuries in here, because they're goblins, of course. You have chainsaws, you have bombs, you have fouling. Yeah. And fairly even blocks. So yeah, like, elves be elves. It's hard for goblins to stop elves from scoring quickly. And when elves score quickly, it's hard for goblins to keep their secret weapons. But despite that, this elf team lost 2 players, one of whom was a move bust on a dodge wrestle catcher, who I think is still on the team. I think that is still a keepable player, but it is much worse with a move bust. It is like borderline right where it is, I think. But also, a second catcher also died, and the catcher died had guard, which is a huge loss for the elves. It's so hard for pros to get a guard player, and this is a guard catcher, and they're just dead, which is going to make their following matches probably quite a bit more difficult. And it's also the main argument for keeping the move bust, I think, because you really want to keep that catcher when you have another catcher who you also need to replace. That catcher is still better than a line elf, even if he's not a great catcher. Well, I mean, he's still good at catching, he's just not so great at running. Also, 7 SPP on 1 player. That's you. That's you. And what a player. What a player you are. Next, Sugars and Spikes, not Spite, versus the Serpent Lords, which is a 1-1 draw between the Orcs and the Dark Elves. Which is... where the heck is it? Sugar and Spikes is down there. Wait, do I not have this one? Oh no, there it is. I found it. I found it in my notes. So, the Orcs outbashed the Elves, which is how it usually goes down. They did not significantly out-remove the Elves, though. Like, the armor breaks in this game were actually pretty even. Like, shockingly so, considering how many more blocks the Orcs had. So, they had more blocks, but they were not more effective blocks. SPP game is actually pretty even, which makes sense. But, you know, the one advantage to the Orcs, especially with the armor, actually, like, these results are very odd. The Orcs should have more... with this many more blocks, and also their much better armor, the Orcs definitely should have had more removals than the Dark Elves. They should have had more armor breaks. So this was very lucky on the part of the Dark Elves that this was as even as it was, I think. It could have easily gone in favor of the Orcs, but it ended up in a draw. Having said that, the one... well, you know, we can see it... No, actually, we can't. This guy was already move busted. In fact, there was one perm from this game, and it was a niggled blitzer for the Dark Elves. Which, you know, you're not going to be happy with, but, I mean, it's a rookie blitzer. If you can afford to replace that, you probably do, but if you can't, you're probably going to keep them. At least until you can replace them. Like, I don't think it was a leveled blitzer. I didn't write it down that it had levels, so it probably was rookie. But I think a niggled blitz, starter is probably better than a rookie line elf, let alone a loner, at least until you can afford to replace the rookie blitzer. You want to make sure you don't feed it SPP though, either. And for that matter, some lords have a lot of players that still need to buy, so that could take a while to replace. I didn't consider that. Yeah, you definitely want to try and avoid... You definitely keep a niggled blitzer, I think, on this team, where it has to collect a lot of money to buy players and stuff. But you don't want to... You want to make sure you don't give it SPP if you can avoid it. Use it for blitzing stuff that does not involve scoring touchdowns or throwing balls, ideally. Okay, moving on. Borner Boys versus Bambino's Rebellion. This game was a 2-0 win for the Camry. And, right there. 21 armor breaks to 5. Again, that really, and 3 expulsions. Clearly the Borner Boys are playing from the Gengar school of Camry. And actually, they took shockingly few blocks for this amount of armor breaks. So they clearly had a lot of removals very quickly. Otherwise, they would have more blocks. Like, that's sort of how it goes. 6 kills, 4 casualties, 2 deaths. I think both of those... Okay. One of those deaths was a rookie line rat, which no one cares about. But one of them was a storm vermin, which people do care about, at least Skaven coaches. And also one of those casualties was a niggled gutter runner, which you definitely care about. I think all of those were rookies, though. So it could have been worse, but it was pretty bad. Bambino is definitely going to be looking to collect some money to, well, recover from that. Next up, we have Horn Stars. What is it? 318. No, it's 2018. It's 2018. We've been through this. Versus Els Behaving Badly, who won 1-0 against Chaos. And yeah, like that's sort of it. Nearly twice as many blocks for Chaos. Not a whole lot of damage inflicted. A little bit. They actually sustained more removals than the Elves did, if only slightly. They got a little bit of SCP. The Elves got a little bit more. The Elves won in the end. And no one was permed or killed. Next, we have Common Nightmares versus the Bashing Lizzies. So here's the thing with this team. Sorry, not Common Nightmares. They were here before. The Bashing Lizzies is a new team. This is the team who replaced Lee's Rebels, who never showed up. At least I think it is. We'll get to that in a moment. It is a replacement team, though. So, you know, we called it. Got the replacement in there right quick. Hopefully we will be able to figure out what's going to happen with REL 9. But this division at least is looking good. There was, of course, 1 death in this game, which was... I did not write it down, so... Wait, did I not write it down? No, I wrote it down. It's a dead skink. No one cares. It's not a big deal. Blocking was fairly even, but the injuries inflicted were not. Camry gonna Camry, and they hurt a whole lot of lizards. Fortunately, not many permanently. Also, as far as I know, this is like a completely rookie team. So, I mean, it started early enough that by the end of the season, they're going to all be effectively the same anyway. But it's probably going to struggle a little bit in the first couple of games just because it's fresher than the other teams in this division. And Khemri, of course, got more SPP because they scored and they hurt things. And you know what? Despite getting a hit on, the Lizards managed to score a draw. I've been saying Khemri this whole time. It's freaking undead. Come on, dude. I mean, the things I've been saying sort of still apply. Werewolf's gonna werewolf, but still. It's undead. The last one I looked at was Khemri. That's why I have Khemri on the brain. Sorry. Okay, next. The Club Scouts versus Greenskin Brawlers. Now, remember when I said maybe about that thing? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. This team right here. Formerly, this division had a team called the Calculators, who were an undead team. They're not in here anymore. I do not know why they dropped out. I do know that they played their week 1 game. So they weren't, like, unattentive. They were here, then they left. And I don't know why. Presumably they had their reasons. Maybe they just didn't have the time. But this is the team that probably replaced them. I might have gotten the team swapped. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. So, yeah. This is also a new team. I think this is... Okay, like, you're a zombie, so I genuinely don't know if this team is undead or necro. Let's say that it's undead, because I like that narrative better, but we'll check in a minute. But I'm genuinely not sure. Orcs took significantly more blocks. They got a lot of KOs and no real removals. And nothing got permed. Yep, basically it was a bash fest. Okay, that's a badly hurt. Last of all, we have Hierarchy versus with a REBBL. With the REBBL. This is also an undead team, right? Wait a second. I have this one written down. Yeah, this is an undead team for sure. Which they beat up on. Oh, you know what? They got a Pokemon. They beat up on the Bretts a whole bunch. Let's see. Okay, this one is the one that I don't have in my notes. Because I think it happened late. It might have just been that I missed it, if we're being honest. Whatever. It doesn't matter. We know what died because it got MVP. It was a peasant. But you know what? It's a peasant who's now a zombie where he gets... Well, he gets better armor anyway. Not a whole lot else. The undead just hit the crap out of the Bretts, and the Bretts tried to hit the crap back into them, but it didn't really work out so well for them. 1 injury versus 2 KOs, 3 injuries, and a kill. Also, 1 more KO that was presumably from somewhat from fouling. Probably. Fouling or tripping or something. Maybe a surf. Well, undead. Probably not a surf. This, though, is a ton of SPP for with a REBBL. You're, like... They got the win. They got a ton of SPP. They are walking away pretty happy with this. From this game. Okay, games aside, let's look at a team, and let's also figure out what race the Cub Scouts are. They are... Necromantic. Shoot. I was really hoping they were undead. At least we still have 1 undead team. And you know what? Not only do we have an undead team, but we're going to look at it as soon as I can find it. Because I cannot read a damn thing on this screen. Like, it's not hard to reduce font size so that they're readable. They just didn't do it. Damn it, Cyanide! Jaspersaurus Rex. No one plays undead anymore. Well, you know, I would have, before I found out that the calculators were dropping out, I would have said no. You have 2 undead in your division. Clearly people play undead still. But you know what? You're the only one now. So you can say that. I love how all the zombies are constantly swaying, but everyone else is standing still. I guess the ghoul is moving a little bit, but the zombies are moving a lot. So, this team has 15 players on it. It has 3 rerolls. It has, hey, there's the Pokemon. There's another Pokemon. Okay, it looks like they have definitely played their match today. Or this week, rather. Both Whites have Mighty Blow. And both mummies have Guard. And one of the 2 ghouls has Blotch. That is not a lot of development, but I think it's all the development that you want on a early undead team. Like, until you start rolling bullshit level ups in your mummies, like, I feel like this is all you need for a while, especially with so many zombies. You can basically foul every other turn with this team, and you're gonna kill things. Hasn't upgraded the stadium yet. I imagine that that will come fairly shortly once this starts going above 150. With undead, I don't think you want a bribe stadium with undead because you have, like, look at the roster again. You don't need bribes here. You have extra zombies for fouling. But something like a weather dome would be okay. Something like all of the usual suspects. The beer stand, maybe. Not the beer stand. The riot gate, I think? Like, basically the kickoff event ones. The normal ones that people take are all good for undead. I don't think you want to take Nuffle's Altar, though. That's probably... I don't think undead have any... Well, actually... No, undead do have one good... cheap star player in the form of Sinbad. So if you really wanted to, you could take Nuffle's Altar and just take Sinbad every other game, I think. But probably you're going to take something that makes crowd or kickoff events less likely to screw you. In terms of development, probably just like any... what is normal? Tackle on whites is good, I know. This team could probably use a little bit of tackle. Like, getting a sacker ghoul would be good. Getting sure hands on a ghoul would be good. Getting a dirty player or kick zombie would be good. Several dirty player zombies, actually. And just... I don't know, like, just level up your mummies a bunch. Like, I don't think there are any really bad level ups on mummies. I mean, there are definitely bad skills to take, but there's no, like, offense... Well, There are no sensible picks which are bad. Let's put it that way. And if you roll double, like, the world is your oyster. Like, mummies who roll a bunch of stats up in doubles are an absolute terror. And, yeah. With that, I think we are going to end the recap speed cap there. Sorry if this was a little bit short and rushed and incoherent, but there's only so much I can do by myself. Which was also my own fault. Again, blame me. It's all my fault. So without further ado, I will see you next week with a co-commentator for sure next week. So we'll be less of a disorganized mess. We will probably be less of a disorganized mess, but we will definitely have a co-commentator next week. I guarantee it. The co-commentator, I mean. Until then, though, I hope you've enjoyed. I hope this has been informative, and have a great game.